Hello, everybody. So the markets have been way up for hypergrowth stocks over the past 2 weeks, and my portfolio is doing very well, which is why I oftentimes try to go back to the basics, at least for two of them, for two positions out of the two, Bitcoin and Tesla. I try to go back to the core, and these are my highest convictions. And then I'll briefly talk about Celsius, which is a stock that I seem to have been adding quite a bit over the past 2 to 3 weeks. So I want to talk about three stocks today: Tesla, Grayscale, i.e. Bitcoin, and Celsius. So first, let me tell you about Tesla really briefly. You know I don't cover Tesla too much on the channel because half of the finance channel just cover Tesla. So I don't need to cover it too much on this channel. But let me tell you one thing about Tesla. I consider it to be super cheap right now. In my view, it's a great time to accumulate. If you go back, we're not quite at 3 years and a half, but almost. The stock. And I'm sure if it stays in this range for a few more months, it will be 3 years and a half. Maybe almost 4 years of the stock being flat. Look at that. The stock hasn't moved since November of 2020. To February of 2024, it hasn't moved. It hasn't changed. But here's the thing, and this is what I always show on this channel, is look at the revenue. Look at the revenue since 2020. So if you look at the chart, so this is roughly the same period. The stock has not moved in 3.5 years, but the revenue has well over 3x in 3.5 years. And it seems like we're heading into a period of slowdown, which is why the market is not happy. But if you look before the stock ran in the 2020s, Tesla was also going through in a period of slowdown. This is actually late 2018, and this is throughout 2019 and early 2020 right here. It was in a little bit of a period of slowdown. So this is not the first time that Tesla is between two growth waves. And I believe a better way to value Tesla is to look at the growth potential over the next 10 years and not the growth potential over the next 12 months, which is one of the main flaws when I do my EV over GP over revenue growth metric. One of the main flaws is that I only look 12 months out and I don't look multiple year out. But that will change as I go through, as I get better at this YouTube thing and at presenting my thesis. I will incorporate more long-term views into these metrics. But I'm very happy to be buying Tesla at this level because it hasn't changed in 3 years. The stock is 3.5 years is the same. And you may have noticed that a lot of traditional finance media is actually noticing Tesla, and this is someone that I've been following for a long time. He's often on CNBC, the dean of valuation. This guy is a tough guy. He every time he analyzes a stock of mine, it's always too expensive. Every single time he thinks the stocks I'm interested in are too expensive. Except if you look at his latest video from a few days ago, he said that he finds them all expensive, aside from Tesla, which he finds Tesla fairly valued. And as a result of that, he bought Tesla last week, which is crazy to me because usually hypergrowth, Aswat Damodaran is usually always saying hypergrowth is overvalued. So he bought Tesla. So I'm like, okay. One of the toughest, quote-unquote, valuation experts out there seems to think it's a good valuation. I think it's a very good valuation at this level, and I'm very happy to keep buying it. And I've done a few videos covering Tesla on this channel. One of them that I think is perhaps my best video on Tesla is my Tesla 2030 vision. I think it's a good analysis of where I view this stock headed in 2030 and past that. Okay, what's the other stock that I keep buying? Well, it's technically an ETF now. It's not a fund anymore. It's an ETF, but it's a Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. And if you follow Bitcoin, I may hear people, well, why are you buying Grayscale? I thought you were buying MicroStrategy as your main proxy. Well, yes, I was buying MicroStrategy as my main proxy, but MicroStrategy is now overvalued in my view compared to how much Bitcoin they have on their balance sheet. I find them a little overvalued. The market is getting overly excited about this change in accounting rules, and so it means that MicroStrategy at some point will report crazy earnings. Therefore, since I find MicroStrategy a little bit overvalued right now, my capital that I deploy into Bitcoin, I would much rather actually deploy it into Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. So briefly, if you look at the total returns, and I put Tesla in there in comparison in my total return calculator, but if you see 64% in 8 years, a little more, 8 years and a half, almost 9 years, 64% per year right now with Bitcoin. And of course, Bitcoin is nowhere near its all-time high. Worth noting that Tesla neither is nowhere near its all-time high. Actually, over the longer run, usually when I've compared these two companies, you get very similar return between Tesla and Bitcoin. Turns out this month it's Grayscale that's long out competing Tesla. I'm doing much better than Tesla. But the reason why I'm buying Grayscale rather than one of the new issues, one of the new ETFs, is because Grayscale already has margins set up. If this is from Robinhood, this is a screenshot from Robinhood, you can already borrow against Grayscale on Robinhood. And, I find it very healthy to be able to borrow against your assets in case you need it, in case of an emergency, or in case of a stock really, really, really dropping. Robinhood is giving the margin requirement on Grayscale very, very similar to like an Apple stock. It's actually really, really good. And that's why it's worth paying the 1.2, 1.3% extra management fees in order to own an asset that I can borrow against. And I have no guarantee that the new ETFs I will be able to borrow against, at least for now. So I'm very happy about that. One other thing that I want to say about Bitcoin, and again, this would not be good in a standalone video, but we saw the President of the United States do a laser eye yesterday. And if you follow Bitcoin, you know laser eyes is the symbol of Bitcoin. People put laser eyes on themselves when they support Bitcoin. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's a presidential campaign thing, because there's obviously going to be a lot of voters that are going to be voting based on crypto and their crypto views. So the President of the United States running again for campaign, maybe he's going to say that he's like pro Bitcoin in some way. That's what I'm thinking. So anyways, this is very interesting. A lot of people are very surprised in the Bitcoin space right now with this picture. I am surprised myself. I don't really know what that means. But clearly that's these laser eyes. Clearly that's the Bitcoin laser eyes. So, we'll see. And I know my viewers, I know many of you don't like Bitcoin, but I just want to say it's okay, because if I talk about a stock that everybody agrees on, if it's a consensus investment, by definition, there's going to be limited potential because everybody sees the benefit in the asset. So there's going to be limited potential. So disagreement is how you find that you may be early in an asset. And I also want to say, I know what my viewers say. My viewers really don't like Bitcoin sometimes. So if some of you, if you don't like Bitcoin, sorry. But someone 2 days ago said in the comment section, he or she said, I can't believe someone as smart as you buys such rat poison. And I'm not really sure how to take it. I don't know if I should take it positively or negatively. I think I'm gonna take it positively. But saying they don't understand why I buy Bitcoin. Well, I've covered it in my video 2 days ago, and it's okay. It's okay. Some investments can go to zero, but I don't think this one will. So I've been in the space long enough. Anyways, my last stock is Celsius. Why am I buying Celsius? And Celsius, of course, is a much more minor position compared to Grayscale and Tesla. But it's not a he must do something position. This is going to be a 5% position for me as long as the price stays under $60 and I keep adding. Celsius, yes, it's still expensive per my metrics. So is Tesla. So is a few other stocks that I own. But I just can't ignore a trend that I see happen every day. If you're in the U.S., I don't know in your part of the U.S., but in my part of the U.S., which is Texas, this drink is an absolute blockbuster. Everybody seems to be buying this drink. Bunch of women buy it, younger folks, healthy folks, even teenagers. Not sure if teenagers should buy it because there's 200 milligrams of caffeine, but they buy it, and they buy it at every time of the day. And, you go to Costco, you see carts with multiple cartons of Celsius. People buy this stuff. People buy it on Amazon. And the stock actually is under pressure right now because the founder's estate is selling stock because the founder of the company recently passed away. So it's going to take them a few more months to unwind all of the stock. So actually the drop in the price is somewhat artificial. And I'll conclude with this, looking at total returns for Celsius. So if you look at total returns for Celsius, you can see my total return calculator is kind of broken. It breaks it because the return is too high, so the chart doesn't really look like anything. But you can see 16 years ago, if you had put $10,000 in Celsius, you would have had almost 10 million, right? So that stock has been a 97x, right? And the triple Q, the Nasdaq, has been a 9x over the same period of time. And this is an asset that could still get bigger in my view, and people may remember Monster Beverage and the great outstanding returns that Monster Beverage generated. And if you look at the revenue growth, this is a chart of the revenue growth, right, over the past 10 years. It's just been parabolic. This is your typical chart of exponential revenue growth. I mean, it's literally drawing an exponential. The growth has been so big over the last few years that typically the first 7 or 8 years of a 10-year chart, you can't even notice them anymore because the growth has been exponential. This looks exactly like an exponential growth curve, and you can see, I mean, it's almost uncanny. The stock chart follows the revenue, follows the earnings, and so I think with our entry to Europe, that's likely to continue for a little while, and I'm very happy to be investing in Celsius. Some people say all of the gains have already been had in Celsius. When I look at the market cap, I tell myself, this is a company that can still grow quite a bit, and it's a special company. Very hard to find companies that exhibit those returns, at least those past returns. So anyways, this was not investment advice. This is just entertainment. Hoping you were entertained. Please like, please subscribe. Follow me on X if you can at BitVidDenominator. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.